Okay, so I'm going to ask if everybody could just quickly go around and introduce yourself. Let's start with Sola in the top corner, or at least top corner of my page.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Shola. I'm the new administrative assistant at St. Mary's Home, and I'm happy to meet everyone.
Hi, Sola. Jose?
So I'm Jose Desev, and I was an employee for 14 years, and I kind of sort of retired, and I'm still working and volunteering at the same time. So it's great to be here.
Good to have you with us, Jose. Continue to have us with us. That's great. Jessica, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Jessica Webb. I am the program coordinator and volunteer coordinator. I started full-time here on April 1st. So it's been a wild ride, and I'm really happy to be here. So it's nice to see all of your faces.
April 1st. So what was the joke then?
I mean, I can't remember. It eludes me. Yeah. I'll get back to you. Yeah.
Perfect. You can send that to me. Peter.
Hold on. Where's my thing? Oh, I'm unmuted. Good. Hi, Peter Linkletter. Proud and honored to be a board member and the vice president of the board at St. Mary's. Welcome, everybody.
Great, Peter. Don.
Don Robb, been on the board now for 5 years. Came over from industry from Mead Johnson Nutrition, but been on the board, quite enjoy it, sit on a couple of committees. And welcome to the new participants.
Thanks, Don. Carolyn? You're on mute, Carolyn.
I'm Carolyn Elliott. I've been with St. Mary's Board for a number of years, and I am retiring from the board after this meeting. I'm going to stay on with the accreditation committee as a volunteer. And other than that, you're all a great bunch. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Carolyn. Leslie Ray.
Hi, I'm Leslie. I'm a new face here, I guess. Hoping I'll be with you for a while. So not sure if you want me to give more of an introduction now or save that for later, but
let's save that for later, if that's okay.
Sure.
Nicholas.
Hi, I'm Nicholas. I'm the treasurer of the board, auditor by day, and I guess a member of the committee by night. Perfect. You changed your superhuman costume at that time, right? Your superhero costume? Something like that. Growing a beard as well.
Lois. Lois, you're on mute.
Okay. Hi, I'm Lois Matthew. I've been on the board. This is my second term. I'm on the accreditation committee. Happy to serve on the board. Before, I worked in Papua New Guinea as in care and counseling center for people living with HIV and AIDS. So I'm used to working with young women and families. Thank you.
Thanks, Lois. Kathy.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kathy Crow, and I'm a board member about to be finishing my term at the end of this meeting, as is Carolyn, and will continue on the fundraising committee.
Great, thank you. James.
Me?
Yep.
My name says James because I was in a Zoom call with my colleagues who speak Spanish with another one of my colleagues who's Jean. So it was Jim and Jean, and nobody knew exactly who was being referred to. So I became James. Then the Swedish person on that said, well, that's actually Yames. So anyway, I'm Jim Mcintyre. I've been on the board for just about a year, and what an interesting year it's been. By day, I work as a fundraiser for the Catholic Center for Immigrants, where I've been there for just over a year. and I'm a member of the fundraising committee.
Great, thank you. Deborah. Debbie.
Hi everybody, Debbie Barrio. I'm the Director of
I think Debbie froze. Okay, I'll go to Abby.
Hello, everyone. My name is Abby. I also sit on the board of directors and have been since July. So it's been a short time, but it's been a great experience so far. Thank you.
Thank you, Abby. And who's next? Kadish?
Yeah, I think it's Khadija.
Khadija?
Yes.
Sorry, Khadija.
Yes. So this is Khadija. I'm working currently as an administrative support, and hopefully I'll be a part of communications and social media team at St. Mary.
That's great. Nice to have you with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Fernando, we introduced you already. Kathleen, I guess, last but not least, before I tell everybody who I am.
Hi, everyone. I'm anyone who doesn't know me, I'm Kathleen Cummings. I work as the Executive Director with St. Mary's Home. And I mean, it's about 4.5 years I've been working here. And it's a good place. It's a great place. I feel very privileged to be here. I'm not sure if Debbie's unfrozen yet.
Is Debbie in the office or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Turn the heat up then. So I'll introduce myself. I'm Chris Hughes. I'm currently chair of the board. This is my last few hours as the chair of the board, and I'll speak to that when I deliver my report later on in our AGM. But just a wonderful group of people to be working with, both staff, volunteers, and of course my terrific fellow board members. So as I said, I'll be saying more about that as we move into our AGM. So again, I'd like to welcome everybody. And we will start with our annual general meeting and then have a very quick board meeting to follow. At this point, I'd like to remind everybody that the minutes of our 2019 annual general meetings were distributed prior to the meeting. And I'd like to ask if there are any issues or concerns with the minutes from last year.
Chris, did you want them on the screen? Because Shola's got them all ready to go on the screen if you wanted to share.
Okay, does I'm not sure that's necessary unless people feel that they would like to review them. I'm sure everybody read them and studied them in detail. If there isn't a need to do that, I'd like to have somebody move acceptance of the minutes. Peter is making the motion for acceptance, and Lois has seconded the motion, so carried. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Nicholas to present our audited statements. And just to point out that these were distributed prior to the meeting as well. And I'd also like to point out that they were presented by our auditor to our board previously and have been accepted by the board. But as per the requirements of our annual general meeting, it is necessary for us to present our audited statements. So I'll turn it over to you, Nicholas.
Hello, everyone. I'm sharing my screen, so just let me know if you can see it or not. But I'd just like to point out the qualified opinion, which is certainly unqualified here, which means that the audit has been given without any hiccups or anything that we should note. The only reason why it's qualified, it's pretty common with charitable organizations. It just pertains to the completeness of revenue, but it's a it's a typical qualified opinion here. So essentially all good with the audit opinion. I'll go down directly to the nice healthy surplus that St. Mary's registered last year. So we're talking about 55,000. It's exactly where we want it to be as an organization, or a nonprofit organization. Of course, the point is not to make a profit. Ideally, it'd be at zero, but 55,000 is close enough to zero and right on the good side of it. So it's quite positive. I'd like also to point out the cash reserves here and the assets. We're talking about 200,000, but especially the savings accounts, which are close to 400,000. So, you know, all in all, the organization is very healthy cash-wise. There's not a lot of liabilities as well. So everything is very positive in my perspective. I'm not sure if you guys want any more details, but if we look at the fund accounting here, I mean, we're talking about essentially just the unrestricted revenue, which is the 55,000 falls here, which is the small distributions of the capital assets that were invested in new equipment during the year, which comes down to your profit of 55,000 here. So, I mean, we're talking about a healthy organization again. You know, we don't see any cumulative deficits and nothing that we should be worried about. What I like to, a good thing is to review as well the cash flow. So we're just talking about a small decrease of cash flow of 50,000 year over year, but that's just in the operating accounts. As you've witnessed before, the savings account did go up. So, I mean, we're talking about essentially a nil change in the cash reserves during the year, except for the savings, which has been a big plus. So again, very positive, and I'm happy to point out again that the audit has been given without a qualified opinion. So yeah, all positive. Thank you. Unless there's any questions, I mean, we did go through them before, but I'm open to answer all the questions that you guys may have.
Nicholas, could I just add for anyone that might not be aware, for some funders, we cannot apply if we don't have a number of months of operational funding. So the reason, like, we had to build a surplus because there's some funders we wouldn't have been able to apply for and in the past couldn't apply for. So I don't want anyone to think that we're you know, not spending money where we need to. We are, but we've been actively working on this for the last 4.5 years to build that. Yeah. No,
and it's a good point, Kathleen. I mean, if we're looking at the surplus, you know, 55,000 out of revenues of 2.46 million is essentially $0. It's a nil surplus. But it's exactly where the organization should be. And I mean, even if it were a loss of 55,000, I'd be very okay with it.
The other thing, the money in the savings is because we got a really good investment thanks to Dom on our board through his relationship with Mead Johnson and RB Health, which we borrowed from before, and now we've been able to build back up. So thanks again, Dom, for that.
Are there any other questions for Nicholas at this point?
Peter, maybe just a quick observation, and again, to having been on a number of boards, some of which may not have been in as great a shape financially. This is just wonderful to see, and it really is a testament, to the great work from the perspective of applying for grants, reaching out and getting funding where needed, and certainly Kathleen and your team, some great kudos there, and of course under the watchful eye of Nicola and the Finance Committee. Over.
Great, thank you, Peter. I echo that those sentiments as well. Terrific job by everyone. Certainly keeping us under control financially, and at the same time being able to get through the last few years, we've been focused on getting our books in order, and I believe they are in order, and continuing to focus on finding efficiencies is a wonderful way to go about that. And thank you, Kathleen, for looking after that for us with your great finance team and, of course, your management team. So thank you for that. So Nicholas, did you have anything else, or did you want to just move the motion to appoint our auditors?
Exactly. So I'll move a motion. I'll make a motion to appoint the next auditors, or to renew the auditors for the next fiscal year, which is Baker Tilly. If there's any approver or
comments. It's Don. I approve.
Okay, so the motion was made by Nicholas and seconded by Don Robb. Are there any questions? All in favor? Perfect. Okay, thank you, Nicholas, for that riveting report. I appreciate that, as do everyone on the call, I'm sure. So at this point, Kathleen, I'm going to turn it over to you to deliver a report, or if you have a few words you want to say, feel free to do so.
You're on mute.
I had written a report in the Agm Report. Are you okay to open that, Shola? Please. Shola's kindly got everything there to share in one place to make it easier. And she worked incredibly hard on doing that. So thank you, Shola. Oops. There we go. So just so you all know, we have a quite lengthy AGM report that has a lot of input from different people. So it's just being completed along with incredible photos, and this will be sent to you after the meeting and also put on our website. As you all know, this has been a pretty unprecedented year with, well, just read from my report, with COVID, the COVID pandemic drastically changing the landscape within which St. Mary's Home operates. Despite these many challenges presented by COVID, thanks to the incredible team I have the privilege of working with, we've been able to pivot and respond quickly to the most pressing needs identified by our participants, both our Young Parents Outreach Center and residents of our specialized shelter. The pandemic has, of course, been a challenge for everybody, but it's especially hard for pregnant and parenting youth and young families who are already experiencing challenges such as financial hardship and isolation prior to the pandemic. For many participants of St. Mary's Home, COVID has intensified experiences of isolation and increased food and housing insecurity and the need for mental health supports. Thankfully, our residential team was able to continue to operate at capacity throughout the pandemic, providing shelter, parenting, support and education, life skills and intensive case management for pregnant and parenting youth and their infants who are living in the congregate setting. During the lockdown period, our center team continued to connect with and provide confidential one-on-one and group supports virtually for young families, either through the phone, internet, like email, online video platforms, and when absolutely essential, in-person services were provided while physically distancing safely outdoors. Or we were very lucky, one of the clinics that works with us actually opened up to see residents while practicing obviously all the healthcare IPAC requirements that were needed. Excuse me. Additionally, our practical services such as food bank continue throughout this challenging time, and with the incredible support, I have to do a special shout out for these guys, Go For It Deliveries, which is a local courier company. I reached out to them to see if they would be, you know, what kind of costs they would charge us to deliver hampers. And they delivered from mid-March till mid-July food hampers free to all our participants of our food bank, along with essential items such as diapers. Anyway, I'm so very proud that when the crisis hit, St. Mary's Home was there for young families and pregnant youth, and the compassion and invaluable expertise that our team brings to work each and every day, their ongoing dedication to participants and their well-being, and how well they work together to ensure pregnant and parenting youth were supported. All of this makes St. Mary's Home a wonderful place to work. When I look back at all the SMA staff accomplishments over the past year and how professionally everyone responded to the COVID pandemic, I'm in awe. This year saw a tremendous maturity in how we as an organization react to crisis and navigate within an unknown and ever-changing landscape. This would not have been possible without the dedication of all our staff and board of directors, for whom I'm very grateful. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart. In closing, I'd just like to say a few special thoughts. Thank you to our wonderful team of volunteers. We so greatly appreciate all of them and miss them tremendously and look forward to seeing them soon. Because of the need to have space at our agency, you know, to have as many participants here as possible, we've suspended most on-site volunteers for now. Also, I'd like to say a special thank you to Carolyn, Elliott, and Kathy Crow, whose terms on our boards are ending. Your passion and ongoing commitment to St. Mary's Home is so greatly appreciated, and you will both be sorely missed. I'm glad you're staying on committees. That's good news. Thank you also to Anne Kroll and Ringo Morelli, who left our board this past year. We miss you very much. A big thank you to our funders and many donors, without whose support we would not be able to do all that we do. Thank you to Chris Hughes for your support and leadership during these challenging times. I'd like to acknowledge all the incredible young families who come to St. Mary's Home. Their courage, tenacity, and strength are an inspiration to us all. Oh, I get emotional. I'd like to remember an extraordinary person, Nuala Durkin. Nuala volunteered with St. Mary's Home in a number of capacities, including vice chair. Dear Nuala, you'll always be remembered, and missed by St. Mary Home. You touched the hearts of so many and will always have a very special place in mine. St. Mary's Home recognizes members of our team reaching 5-year increments of working with our agency. This past year, Debbie Barrio reached this milestone after completing 5 years working with St. Mary's Home. On behalf of our St. Mary's Home team, I would like to sincerely thank you, Debbie, for your ongoing commitment, hard work, and dedication. You really put your heart into everything that you do, and it's a privilege to work with you. I have a plaque here, a certificate here for Debbie, and also a gift card. But I'll have to give you it in a distance because you're downstairs right now. But seriously, Debbie, this year has been incredibly hard and challenging, and I just so greatly appreciate all that you do and have done and continue to do, and I really do feel privileged working with you. Thank you, that's my report. And if you tell me I was muted for the whole time, I'm not repeating it. Thank you. Thanks, Shola. Oops. Oh, Chris, you're muted.
Yeah.
That was actually done on purpose, Kathleen, to make you feel better. It didn't work, I guess. I just want to mute mute my mic again before I say this. No, all kidding aside, I just want to echo what Kathleen said. Congratulations, Debbie, on your 5 years with us. It's been a very different organization for you, I'm sure. And the last 5 years, we've gone through a lot of struggles, and you've helped us and help the leadership team navigate through that. But your care, compassion, and understanding of the clients we serve is just incredible. And your ability to work well with our staff and our clients is remarkable. And I want to thank you for your contribution as well. So thank you again, and I look forward to another, hopefully another 5 years or more. Thank you for that. I also want to shout out to both Kathy and Carolyn. Kathy, you've been a wonderful contributor to the board, and all I can say is that when we go to create our band or orchestra for the organization, we will be short an oboe player, so we may be calling you up for that. Carolyn, what can I say? You've been involved with us. You step forward whenever we're looking for somebody to take something on. And I remember a lot of times when we're looking for a volunteer for something, you step forward, and very often you'll start by saying, I may not be the best at this, or I may not know it fully, but I'd be more than happy to give it a try. And you did that when we were looking for somebody to do the minutes, and when we were looking for somebody to help us with the accreditation committee and so on. All I can say is you've been a star there. Your patience, your attention to detail, and so on has been remarkable. And I too am happy that you're staying involved with the committee from that perspective. So thank you, Carolyn, as well, and really appreciate having you being part of the team. So I'm just going to read what I've prepared. Some of this is in our report. So I'm just going to start then. So as we celebrate our 2020 annual general meeting, we recognize that this has been a very different year from those of the past. The global COVID-19 pandemic has affected each and every one of us. We are hopeful that an end is in sight and that a vaccine will soon be available. Let's not kid ourselves, however, that the lasting effects of this will be with us for years to come. The mental health and well-being of all peoples cannot be minimized nor forgotten. Now more than ever, we need to be strong, supportive, and above all, caring. We went into 2020 with a great deal of hope and energy to continue to serve the young families, women, men, and babies as we have for so many years. Our clients know that when they come to St. Mary's Home, they will receive the best of care and attention without judgment, prejudice, or barriers. That is what we stand for and stand behind. None of this would be possible without the very best staff and volunteers. As we pivoted to adjust our delivery of service to our clients, the energy and hope did not wane. It ramped up and we made it work. I am so proud of how well we responded to this huge hiccup. Through our leadership team with Kathleen at the helm, our staff did not miss a step. I say congratulations and thank you to all of you, including our volunteers. As I leave the board chair position, I want to express my appreciation to all of you. The years went by so fast and I have seen so much change. We have come a long way from where we were when I first came to the board. When I arrived, we were not in a great financial place. We struggled through year after year, trying to make it through without cutting programs or laying off staff. I am happy to say that our financial position is in great shape and our outlook is getting brighter ahead. I am so fortunate to chair a board of directors with volunteer directors who are so dedicated and giving of their time and energy. I thank you all for your ongoing support in caring for those we serve in our community. It has been my pleasure to chair this board, and I am encouraged by our slate of members for the coming year. Kathleen, I have enjoyed working with you as our executive director. You are indeed a pleasure to work with. It is because of you that St. Mary's Home is now looking better and the direction is so positive. Let's continue to drive forward, support each other, and dream of better days ahead. Imagine that you are one of our babies with so much hope ahead of you. As each day passes, you grow, you are stronger, and life shows you more to live for. Imagine for a moment that when you come in contact with someone who inspires you and perhaps changes your life forever for the better, you can be that person. Thank you all.
Thank you, Chris. That was beautiful.
So at this point, I'm just going to just need to pull the agenda back up again. Sorry. I lost my agenda. Sorry.
Chris, next up is thank you to outgoing board members.
Okay, so I did that as part of my report. So again, I just want to echo thank you to all of our outgoing board members who have served their terms with us. And again, I want to echo Kathleen's comments about Nuala. She was a wonderful member of our board, and we're sorry to see her and miss her incredibly. So at this point, Peter, why don't I turn it over to you for the nominating committee report.
Thanks so much, Chris, and Kathleen and Nicola, everybody who's been speaking already. Wonderful, wonderful and positive AGM thus far. And so I've got two items in my role as chair of the nominating committee. We have a bit of business to do regarding new board members, regarding mentioning and thanking new members who've joined, and then of course presenting the slate for the board and the executive for 2020. Spoiler alert: there will be we'll be going into the next performance period with a few vacancies on the executive, and that will be some homework. But in terms of new board members, and very glad that we have with us today Fernando Santos and Leslie Ray Ferrara, who had presented their nominations when we did a call in the spring for board members. And of course, boards are limited in the number of seats, so they've been very patiently waiting for some vacancies to appear, and some vacancies have. So I do want to table a motion that the board accept the nomination of the two new board members, Fernando Santos and Leslie Ray Ferrara. And from a formality perspective, I know that we do plan to do a bit of a welcome aboard of the new board members, should the motion be approved at the board meeting. But I don't know, I'll defer to you, Mr. Chair, as to whether we want to go into any biographical detail. But at this point, procedurally, I would certainly like to table the two board members for consideration. I had already circulated to the board the wonderful submissions that Fernando and Leslie had initially sent to give a sense of their interest and their passion and their willingness to want to help contribute and to help increase the results for St. Mary's. So with that, procedurally, first off, I'll table a motion to accept both Leslie and Fernando as new board members.
Okay, so
I'll second that.
Motion is moved by Peter and seconded by Jim. Thank you, appreciate that. Are there any questions or concerns? And if not, I'll call for a vote. Carolyn, did you have a question?
I just needed to clarify for the minutes. Is the motion to accept them or to accept their nominations?
Right now it's to accept the nominations.
Great, thanks.
Okay, again, seconded by Jim. So if there aren't any questions on the motion, I will call for a vote to accept both Leslie and Fernando as our board members joining the board for the coming year to serve their term with us on the board.
Mr. Chair, maybe procedurally, I think we should probably do them separately, just in case one were to inadvertently carry the other one over the line respectfully from a Robert's Rule of Order perspective.
Okay, so that's fair, Peter. I appreciate that. So the first motion is to, I'll call for a vote for accepting Fernando as a new board member on the St. Mary's Home Board going forward. All in favor? Okay, objections? No, carried. I will call for a vote for the acceptance of the nomination of Leslie Ray Ferrara to the board of St. Mary's Home going forward. All in favor? Objections? No objections. Carried. Welcome to the two of you. At this point, actually, before we go into mentioning the new board members who joined the board since our last AGM, I think this is a good time to ask both Leslie and Fernando to just introduce themselves, to tell us a little bit about themselves and why they were interested in joining St. Mary's Home. So I'll ask Fernando for you to kick us off with that, if that's okay.
Sure. Well, I want to thank you, Chris and Peter and all the other board members. It's really a pleasure to join you. I arrived from Brazil last March, so a couple of weeks before pandemic really hit and we had the lockdown. I've been a Canadian since the 90s. I lived in Vancouver from the early 90s. Finished my high school and then I went back to Brazil, got married. I have two kids. They're 19 and 17 years old. I am an electrical engineer. My background is in the construction industry. And I've worked with charitable institutions for the last 3 years. I've been organizing, it's a mix of a fundraising project and an event. I had a company, it was a for-profit company, but we brought together the fundraising side of it. So we renovated buildings for charitable institutions. And we had that for 3 years. So we renovated the first institution that we helped was a social housing institution for the elderly. Then in 2018, we helped a psychiatric institution. And last year, we renovated the building for Down Syndrome Foundation. So when I saw after I got here, I knew that I did want to continue working with charitable institutions. And when I saw the position available, I wrote, and I was very happy to hear from Chris, who was always very nice. And he saw a good match with the challenges that St. Mary's have ahead of us. And so we've been talking since then, and then I got in touch with Peter for the fundraising committee. So we've been doing some work, and I'm really happy, and I hope to contribute, and good to have in good company. Thank you.
Leslie, did you want to say a few words? Fernando, thank you very much. Welcome to the board. Obrigado.
Thanks. Sorry about that. Right as we were getting ready, my child knocked over a big glass of water everywhere. So just been slightly distracted for the last 2 minutes. Sorry about that. We had a little timing issue this evening, so I've got some company with me. So my name is Leslie Ray Ferrara. I am Canadian, born and raised in Kitchener-Waterloo. and moved to Paris in my third year of university and spent 14 years in Paris, and just moved back with my family to Ottawa 2 years ago. So I spent most of my time in Paris working at the OECD, which is the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, mostly in the data for development movement. So looking at kind of how to improve statistical systems in low and middle income countries. And then did a couple years of consulting with the United Nations Foundation, also in that same space. And then just recently joined, when I moved to Ottawa, a non-profit, but more kind of international NGO based in Ottawa, which is called the Framework Convention Alliance. And I'm currently the acting executive director there. It's a kind of global network of civil society organizations that work on eradicating tobacco use and all of the devastating effects it has on people's health and the economy. So I've been there now for a couple years. And as I said, most recently, as their acting executive director, we also went through some pretty big changes with the pandemic, including losing half of our staff. So spend a lot of time with the board myself. So I'm very excited to be on the other side of this and being a board member and providing support to an organization. I know it's a really, really important role. I rely a lot myself on my board. And I've spent kind of a lot of my professional life working a lot in fundraising, managing communications, strategic planning, stakeholder engagement, and governance. So I'm very new to the kind of health and tobacco side of things in that world, but feel that I could maybe bring some more of that other expertise to your board. From my own personal perspective, very passionate about women and children, hence the application I put forth to join this board, as I find kind of now in my normal day-to-day, it's much more on an international level on tobacco control. And I'm really excited to work more kind of in the community since we've joined, and also on an issue I find that is very important to me. So I guess, yeah, I speak French and English, fluent French and English, and have a little 3-year-old boy, and are loving Ottawa so far, except for when we get 20 centimeters of snow. Still adjusting to that lifestyle, but I'm really, really, really happy to be a part of the board. So thanks for having me.
Yes, Lee, thank you very much for that, and welcome to the board. We look forward to having you work closely with the rest of the board, and thanks for putting your name forward. It'd be wonderful to have you with us. Sounds like you have your hands full with your role as executive director and so on, and look forward to you bringing new skills and help to us around governance and all sorts of things. Thank you.
Also, just to add to, I think I'm really excited to learn from another board and another organization. So I feel equally beneficial to be able to learn some of the stuff that I can bring back to my own organization. But yeah.
Good stuff. Well, it's all about sharing. So that's perfect. Thank you, Leslie. Peter, I'm going to turn it back to you, put it in your capable hands. Sure. And I guess we left off with reminding people that we did have some people join the board since our last AGM, and if you would starting there, that'd be great.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, so since our last AGM, and actually I'm going to be fuzzy on a few just because I know of spoiler alert. I think Jim joined just before the last AGM, but we'll get to that. So Abigail McKinnon is one of our since the last AGM board members. Nicolas Chabot, our exceptionally capable treasurer. And Philippe Guiton, who isn't with us today. They've been on board now, and so now and Deanna, I think Deanna Lindsay came on just before the last AGM as well. But so making note of both them and Jim, who but as relatively recent as well. So it's great working with them, and again, it's always great to to have, of course, recognizing that some of the board members have joined, and we've all worked and struggled together in this COVID environment, and which is a challenge for the organization, and it's also, frankly, a challenge for being a boards, unless you're, I'm presuming that someone like Leslie, who's dealing with, global boards and Switzerland and whatnot, this is just normal. But one thing we're missing is having a little meal before board meetings at St. Mary's, which we always look forward to, and exchanging good cheer with that as well. That would then bring me to, so again, thank you to the new board members. And again, I should also echo the thanks to the departing board members. And it's so great to hear that they'll be continuing in a volunteer capacity on committees outside of the board. So that's music to our ears. So in terms then of the slate for the board for 2020, that would then, and I'm glad that we're recording this because it'll just make it easier than showing it on the screen or whatnot. That would have us with, and I put them in alphabetical order just for the record. That would be Nicolas Chabot, Leslie Ferrara, Philippe Guiton, Chris Hughes, Peter Linkletter, Lois Mathieu, Jim Mcintyre, Abigail McKinnon, Don Robb, and Fernando Santos. Did I miss one? And Deanna Lindsay. Yes, that's my bad. That's why it's good for recording. And so I would want to, now we want to present that slate. So that's the slate for the board, and also honored to present the slate for executive. And we'd be voting on that. Right, so I feel kind of self-serving here, presenting that I would be a prospective candidate to serve as president, and Chris, of course, as you would have learned, it would be past president. Nicolas, we're honored to have him continuing as treasurer, and leaving two vacancies that will be some homework: the role of vice president and the absolutely almost irreplaceable and key role of secretary, which we know is always, I consider, a key role on any board. That said, now procedurally, right, so we would then go to a motion to accept the slate for the board of directors. And so, having already named all of those, and given that they're recording this, I won't restate them all, but I will present back to you, Chair, for consideration, a motion to accept the slate for the 2020 Board of Directors of St. Mary's Home.
Peter, I appreciate that. I would just like to amend the motion, if I may, and I would have to ask you to reintroduce it if you're okay with the amendment. Deanna Lindsay has resigned from the board for personal reasons, and so as such, I feel that we would be better suited to put a motion forward to introduce a slate that would be all of the names that you've mentioned, with the exception of Deanna.
Fair enough. Then I think, again, given that we're recording and we can record this alteration, then I will present the slate that was presented without Deanna Lindsay for consideration for the Board of Directors for 2020 for St. Mary's Home.
Thank you, Peter. Can I have a seconder for the amended motion? Nicholas, appreciate that. Seconded by Nicholas. Any questions or concerns? Okay, I'll call for a vote then. All in favor? We'll accept the slate going forward, and that's wonderful. Peter, did you want to speak to the? I know you did mention the executive and so on. Typically, we would make a motion to accept the slate for the executive, but if we have vacancies on there, then we're not able to do so.
Okay, although I guess we do have 3 of 5 there, so could we, for the sake of the AGM, just record and get support on those 3 positions?
Yeah, so what I would recommend is you make a motion with the 3.
Yes.
And indicate 2 vacancies with the title. And then we will move to fill those vacancies in short order.
Wonderful, Mr. Chair, eloquently put. And given that you've eloquently put it in the record, and I know Kathleen's hand is up, I will present that executive slate for vote and for consideration through a motion through you, the chair. And I think given that Kathleen had her hand up, once we can deal with that on questions with any other questions that folks might have.
Oh, okay. Peter, my question was if any of our new people were interested in those roles, because then if they were, that could be included in the slate.
Yeah, and sorry, and I should
no pressure.
Yeah, no, and I should have mentioned that I had done a canvassing of board members, thus producing that, and I didn't want to be necessarily presumptuous, you know, again, unless there was you know, a hand that might be jutting up among Fernando and Leslie, but again, I think that would be you know, that may be quick. But we could certainly nonetheless take that as homework. Naturally, having an executive slate that is full is essential and ideal. But recognizing that we're you know, we might have a bit of homework for that. So again, I'll defer back to the chair in terms of how procedurally you might want to address that, or take it as homework, which would be my recommendation.
Yeah, I would agree. Let's leave it as homework rather than putting anyone on the spot here. So we do have a motion in front of us. I'll ask for a seconder to that motion to accept the slate of the executive 3 with 2 vacancies. Seconded, I believe, by Dawn. Is that correct, Dawn? Okay. Any questions on that? If you do have any questions, feel free to raise them here. Or if you want to discuss any of the roles with Peter, feel free to do so separately. That would be great. Okay, so I'll call for a vote. We have the slate put in front of us, moved by Peter, seconded by Dawn. I'll call for a vote. All in favor? Okay, so we have our executive for the 2020 St. Mary's Home Board of Directors. Thank you for that, Peter. I appreciate that. So, Peter, did you have anything else before we moved on, or are you good?
Well, yeah, and maybe just in closing, as part of my nominating committee reports, and in particular, I do want to thank you all for your vote among the executive. It's an absolute honor to be coming in as president, and especially and particularly to be following through on the absolutely wonderful work and stable hand that Chris has had in his role. And so the shoes have been stretched to full capacity, and I'll do my best to get in them. And again, I'm looking forward to working with all of the returning board members and to getting to know the new board members as well, and as well as the new staff members. So it's great to see we've got some renewal there as well. So, and of course, everybody would be wanting to continue working with Kathleen, and I just we're blessed as an organization to have her as an executive director. So with that, to you, Mr. Chair, I just again, I'm looking forward to serving and doing all I can for St. Mary's. Over.
Thank you, Peter. Appreciate that, and congratulations on coming in as the chair. And I will do my best as the past chair to support you and provide you any help and I guess suggestions going forward if you need them. But I'm sure you're quite capable, and that will leave me a lot of time to myself. So that's great. Appreciate that. Thank you, Peter. Kathleen, the Long Service Awards are next on the agenda. However, you did do that as part of your report, which is fine. Is there anything further that you wanted to say before we jumped on to the video tour? You're on mute, Kathleen.
Welcome to our new board members, and thank you again to Kathy and Carolyn for all you've done. And Chris, I'm really glad you're staying on as past chair, and Nicholas and Peter, I'm really grateful that Nicholas, you're staying in this role. relieves so much pressure from me having you as the treasurer. And Peter, I'm really happy to work with you closer too. It's going to be, I think, still a little bit of a long haul with this pandemic, but I think we've got some great energy and great people involved in our organization, and I'm happy to be a part of it. Thank you. And Debbie, I seriously, thank you so much. You're amazing.
Debbie's been very helpful as well, very supportive to the organization and to Kathleen. So again, Debbie, thank you. It's been a pleasure for sure. Actually, now that you've mentioned the pandemic, Kathleen, as an aside, I attended a WebEx this morning put on by Deloitte, actually. And it was the COVID-19 economic update that Deloitte does on a regular basis. And Deloitte actually has a dashboard that is quite good, quite useful. And Nicholas, I'm sure you can attest to this, that they have a very well thought out dashboard that includes a number of areas of focus. And the presentation that they gave this morning was, I think, quite helpful, quite good. It shows a very positive, I guess the best way to put it, a very positive but realistic outlook on the pandemic, how we're doing economically, how we're doing, I guess, emotionally and so on as a country. And what I like is the dashboard specifically focuses on Canada and how Canada represents the pandemic vis-a-vis the rest of the world. And one of the things that was pointed out this morning, and I think we should all keep this in mind, we often compare ourselves to the U.S., perhaps too often compare ourselves to the U.S. And what the presenter said this morning, the presenter from Deloitte, what he said is that's fine and dandy to compare ourselves to the U.S. And when it comes to the pandemic, we think we're doing fabulous, and we are in comparison to the U.S. However, if we compare ourselves with countries similar to Canada, i.e. Australia, we are not doing as well, and we could be doing better for a whole lot of reasons. And so I'm heartened by the fact that if we compare ourselves to countries like Australia and so on, I believe we could look at the best practices that are being used there to bring those into our country, as opposed to focusing our efforts on a country that clearly has either not taken this seriously or has forgotten that there are better ways to handle these things. So I'm not trying to be political. I'm just suggesting you may want to take a look at the dashboard, and you may want to just take a look at what's happening in other parts of the world, and so on. Canada's doing great. We could do better. So I'll get off my soapbox there. So Kathleen, I'm going to turn it over to, I guess, Sola, you have the control of the video tour. Kathleen, does it need an introduction, or did you want to
just in short, there's about 7.5 minutes of videos. One is a tour that was done so that potential new residents who used to come and have a tour can see the site without coming and being at risk or putting others at risk. The other one is a, oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember now. What the other one is, what to expect kind of when you come into the agency. And then the third one is a TikTok video that's just a really quick one, 30 seconds, showing you, letting you meet some of our staff. Not everybody's on it, but some are. And so yeah, we just thought that many of you haven't seen our site. Some haven't seen it in a while. I think most of you haven't seen the residence because it's people's homes, so we don't have people there. So we hope you enjoy.
Thank you, Kathleen.
And I want to say a big thank you to Alex, who made these videos. Alex is one of our primary care counselors and also is jumped in and has been doing incredible work around social media with us. And Alex made these videos, but couldn't be here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen. Sola, over to you.
The St. Mary's Home Residence provides a home and nurturing environment for up to 15 young women and their babies. Participants of our residence program receive 24-hour support on site, counseling services, and have access to a range of evidence-based informed programs. The living room provides participants with a space to gather together, relax, and play with their babies. 3 computers with internet access are available for participants to use for schoolwork, research, and social time. Access to the living room is limited during the day during the week to allow for participants to engage in programming. The parenting room provides a space for participants and their babies to engage in playtime, story time, and STEM time. Rocking chairs and a crib have been placed to help participants put their babies to sleep. A change table along with diapers and wipes are available for daily diaper changes. Just off of the parenting room is our parenting counselor's office, where a parenting counselor is available to offer information, guidance, and support for all parenting needs. In the kitchenette, participants have access to a selection of dairy, protein, fresh fruit, and fiber products at all times. Our resident cook prepares 3 healthy meals a day, as well as 3 formal snacks. Participants are able to learn about nutrition and practice cooking skills. The porch area is a designated space for participants to engage in artistic projects and crafts, to relax and read, or to spend social time with one another. Just off of the porch is access to the backyard where participants can play with their babies and get some fresh air. Each participant's room contains a twin-size bed, crib, a sink for personal use, a safe for securing personal belongings, as well as cupboards and a large closet for storage. Each participant receives a key for their room, towels and linens are provided, and participants practice life skills by completing a thorough room clean every Friday morning. For more information about our residence program, please email info@stmaryshome.com or call 613-749-2491, and we will be happy to answer any and all questions. Thank you.
Before coming to SMH, you will need to call ahead and book an appointment with one of our counselors. One day before your appointment, a staff member will call to ask you some pre-screening questions like, have you traveled outside Canada in the last 14 days? Or do you or anyone in your household have any of the following symptoms? Fever, shortness of breath, difficulty breathing, difficulty swallowing, decreased or loss of taste or smell. Please let your counselor know if you require childcare or not. When you arrive at St. Mary's Home, please wait outside of the center, either at the front door or in your car, and call or text your counselor to let them know that you are here, and ring the doorbell if you don't have a phone. A staff member will then come to meet you at the front door and ask you the same screening questions again. If you have no symptoms, you will be invited to come inside, sanitize your hands, and put a mask on. If you have a child with you and they are under 2, they will not be required to wear a mask. If they are over 2, we will work together to encourage them to wear a mask, but ultimately, it is okay if they don't want to do this. Please practice putting on masks at home with your child, on a doll or teddy bear before coming to ease their anxiety about seeing or using masks. After you have done that, you will be taken to the washroom to thoroughly wash your hands for 20 seconds using warm, soapy water. After washing your hands, we will go with you and your child to the CDR room, where they will be welcomed by a CDR staff from a distance. The child care staff will then wash their hands and put on their mask. Once your child feels safe and settled, you can carry on with your appointment. During your appointment. During your appointment, you will be brought to your designated meeting space that will have already been cleaned and sanitized. During your meeting, you and your counselor will be 6 feet apart, and both of you will wear a mask. When your appointment is over, you and a staff member will go and pick up your child from the child development room. You will all then walk to the front door together. You will be asked to sanitize your hands one last time. Remove and dispose of your mask and then sanitize your and your child's hands again before you exit the building. The staff will then sanitize all spaces that were used so that it is ready for the next appointment.
So those were just some brief videos, just to give you an idea of what we're doing. And we've been sharing them in the community with potential participants, with people returning, you know, to try and let people know what to expect. And then obviously for people coming to the residence for the first time, because we can't have on-site visits ahead of time now. When people come to the residence that are new, they have to unfortunately isolate for 2 weeks whilst we wait for COVID test results. So, you know, we just want people to have a little bit of an understanding of the home they're moving into. Yeah.
Right. Kathleen, that's great. Both videos were great. It was really good to see the video of the residents as well. I think that's certainly for people who have not had the opportunity to visit the residence or have visited the residence, but it's been some time. It's good to see what it looks like. Now. So, thanks to you and to the people that put that together. It looks great. Appreciate that. And again, the video for COVID. Good job, Jose. Good. You played a good participant there. So. Thank you for that. So what I'm going to do before I call for an adjournment of our annual general meeting for 2019, what I'd actually, is it the 2019 annual general meeting or the 2020? I guess it's 2019-2020 annual general meeting. Always confusing. So before I call for the adjournment, what I'm going to do, rather than do a roundtable, because I'll do the roundtable after the quick board meeting that we'll have after this, I just want to ask if there's anybody that has anything they want to speak to, staff, board, if you have anything that you want to speak to before we leave the annual general meeting and go into our abridged board meeting. just unmute your mic and speak up. Looks like nobody's unmuting their mic.
Hi.
Okay.
So I just want to say, and to the new board, welcome to St. Mary's Home. You're going to have a wonderful time being on the board. We've had the best board, the last board direction we have has been fantastic. And I'm really sad that you guys that some of you are leaving, you know, because we worked really close together on the accreditation committee and over the years. And I just want to say, you know, I'm really sad that you're leaving, but welcome to St. Mary's Home. It's the happiest place on earth. And I honestly tell everybody that when people say, thank God it's Friday, I say, thank God it's Monday, because I have 5 more days of St. Mary's. And that's why when I left St. Mary's to retire, I'm staying on as a volunteer forever. I could not leave St. Mary's. I love it so much. And you are going to love it, I'm sure, as much as I do. So I just wanted to say that before I went.
Thank you, Jose, our incredible cheerleader. So I really appreciate that and appreciate your words of encouragement. You know, one of the things that makes it very difficult, although the organization was very quick and very effective in how we pivoted through the pandemic period and continue to do so. What makes it difficult for board members, especially the new board members coming in, it's very difficult to appreciate what goes on within the organization when you're working from home and you know, we do our calls virtually and so on. I've said to many that, you know, when you're at St. Mary's Home and you see the babies and the moms and you know, the expectant moms and the babies and just the little ones running around. That's what really makes the organization. You know, yes, the staff are important, the board is important, the volunteers are important, you know, but the ones that don't stand any higher than your knee, they're the ones that really make St. Mary's Home what it is, and it's just a beautiful place to see. And that's when you really gain the appreciation for what this organization is, what it does, what it stands for, and really who we're doing it for. It's just remarkable, and it's if anything, it's sad that we're not able to do it now. I'm hopeful that we'll be able to be back to that soon, because if anything, that's our normal, and I want to get back to that soon. So let's hope and pray that that happens sooner than later. Kathleen, you're raising your hand.
Chris, I just wanted to clarify, we are actually providing services one-on-one and in small groups. So we have set up like little kind of play pods, for lack of a better word, where we've got these cloud kind of play pens. They're made of material with clouds on them, and the pods are, I mean, obviously they have to be 6 feet, but they're larger than that. And we have had, whilst we've been allowed 10 people on site, we've had 2 staff and 4 dyads. And we offer a number of different baby and me and toddler programs, and we're doing buns in the oven and attachment. And so we're doing all kinds of programs. It's just a lot of work because we have to sanitize everything in between, and a lot of screening and a lot of PPEs. But we have been, since as soon as we got the go-ahead to provide in-person services, we've been doing it. We were prepared ahead of time, and the day we got the go-ahead, we've been doing it. So I'm sorry if I haven't communicated that properly before, but we are most definitely doing that. And now with us being in the orange zone, it looks like we can actually open the bubbles a little bit wider, a little bit bigger for the amount of people, as long as we have, I mean, to be honest, the pods, we've been making the play pods, making them more like 8 feet, but there's kitchenettes in it, there's individual kitchenettes and playthings, and every little dyad or team of family has their own setup when they come in. It's quite beautiful. I think we have pictures of it in our AGM report. If not, we can share some with you.
Okay,
yeah,
that's great, Kathleen. Thank you. That was a great clarification. And no, you did you did make it clear that we are doing programming and so on. I was making more reference to the difficulty for board members who don't have the opportunity to gain that appreciation and so on. And to be frank, because you've added that point and clarified it, it's wonderful that the staff were able to pivot so quickly to provide the accommodations that are necessary in a healthy and respectful way. So to you, Kathleen, and the staff and everyone, it's wonderful. And I know it's difficult for everyone. I just wanted to point out that again, what really makes it for a board member is to actually see what the organization looks like when it's running. Don, I think you may have had, did you have your hand up, Don? And then Debbie, I know you have your hand up.
No, I was just going to echo some of what you said. Until I have to, from my standpoint, until you see it firsthand at the center and see what both the staff does, but just see the families in there. And for me, the kicker was just getting out to the residents a number of years back. That kind of, puts it in a whole different perspective. So no, it's part of why we all do what we do here with St. Mary's. And Jose, you will be sorely missed. I love your cheerleading.
Thanks, Don. Appreciate that. Debbie, you had something you wanted to add.
I'm not sure if you can hear me. My mic working? Yeah?
Yeah,
okay. Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for the recognition, and just wanted to also echo some of what Kathleen said, but more specifically, we've been through many hurdles over the last 5.5, 6 years, and who would have thought it would end in a pandemic? But here we are, and the staff have really stepped up and rallied around, and sometimes when things were changing daily, sometimes twice a day. So, we really do have an amazing staff team, and I just want to say thank you for that. And thank you to Kathleen and the board, really, for all the support that you guys have, some past board members and some current board members and the newer board members moving forward. We really depend on your leadership and your direction and your support as we move forward in these times. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Debbie. Appreciate that. If there isn't anything else, I'm going to, is there anybody else that wants to add? Okay, if there isn't anything else, I'm going to call for the adjournment of our 2019-2020 annual general meeting, and then we'll immediately go into our board meeting. So I'll ask somebody to move that we adjourn the meeting, the annual general meeting. Peter's moving that. Can I ask for a seconder? Abby's a seconder. Appreciate that. All in favor? This meeting is thereby adjourned. And for the staff that attended the AGM, you're welcome to stay through the board meeting if you like. It's totally up to you. But I want to thank everybody for attending our annual general meeting, and to the staff that have joined us today. Welcome to St. Mary's Home. It is a wonderful place. Jose is telling the truth, and I can attest to it, as I'm sure everyone around this table can as well. And to the staff members that are here, thank you so much for what you do each and every day for us. And thank you each and every day for what you do for our kids and our families. It's wonderful to have you with us, and God bless all of you. Thank you.